Good evening. I'm Michelle Alexandre, Dean and Professor of Law at Stetson University College of Law. I'm extremely honored to welcome all of you tonight to the 2021 Stetson Law Hall of Fame induction ceremony. First, I would like to thank everyone for playing an important role in creating the remarkable legacy of Stetson Law. We've been preparing leaders and lawyers for over 120 years, and today we are among the top in the nation for our advocacy and legal writing programs. Since 1980, our advocacy teams have won 5 world championships and 81 national championships. Our students continue to amaze and inspire us through their hard work and dedication in trial competitions. These achievements are the result of the people at this institution striving to do incredible things. Tonight, you will hear about 2 people who have spent their careers, indeed their lives, achieving outstanding things. We are exceptionally proud of each of them and of their contributions to the Stetson Law legacy. First, it is my privilege to welcome Stetson University President Christopher Wilkie to talk with you about what makes Stetson so important to all of us here tonight.
As president of Stetson University, I welcome you to our Hall of Fame induction ceremony at Stetson Law. Since 2004, the College of Law's Hall of Fame has been recognizing the outstanding members of the Stetson Law community for their commitment to their profession and for their contributions to our community. This sense of giving back to the community from which they were born is one of the hallmarks of a Stetson education, whether at the College of Law or here in DeLand. At my inaugural ceremony on November 6th, I offered my thoughts about what that ceremony really meant, and I offer some of those remarks here because I think they are appropriate for what we are gathered for. Here's what I said. Today is about reaffirming our collective commitment to improving the human condition. Today is about unleashing the fullest of our intellectual and emotional capacities to help solve our communities and our society's most pressing challenges. Today is about capitalizing on opportunities to promote the very best forms of higher education in America. Today is about our Stetson students and how we provide an especially vibrant and important form of education at our university. An education that is respectful of and attentive to individual differences. An education that embraces multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary study of the arts, sciences, humanities, business, music, and law. An education that is committed to bridging any perceived or real gaps between theory and practice. Today is about focusing our collective energies to help our students to learn, to grow, and to reach their full potential as informed citizens of local communities and the world. Today is about equipping our students with the skills and dispositions required to lead society judiciously to good ends. So, as we come together today to honor 2 great individuals, we must remember their greatest achievements were their contributions to our society, their profession, and their families. They did, in fact, reach their full potential as citizens of their communities and the world. I offer my congratulations to the family, friends, and colleagues of tonight's inductees. Clearly, they were both incredible assets to the practice of law and incredible people who provided help and support to others. Congratulations, and go Hatters!
I would like to turn our attention to a distinguished Hall of Fame inductee who we recently lost. Let's take a look at this brief tribute video for Bernie McCabe, who was a double Hatter, member of the Board of Overseers, adjunct professor, and prosecution clinic supervisor, in addition to serving Pinellas County as the state attorney for decades.
Hi, this is Dennis DeVlaming speaking. I'd like to tell you that 53 years ago, I was a freshman student at Stetson College of Law. It was a small class. There were only 3 women in my class. And there was a fella that ultimately I came to know. He was not from my state, but we did go through the war together, so to speak. And that's Bernie McCabe. Bernie and I were freshmen. And we looked around and looked at each other and looked at the other students and wondered who was going to make it to the end. Well, I'd like to be proud to say that both Bernie and I did make it. We were in the first prosecution clinic together, and we became assistant state attorneys together. When we graduated in 1972, Bernie and I both had obligations with the military to go through branch training, and we did. And then we came back and we prosecuted together. And we really enjoyed each other's company. I mean, it was something that we respected each other's ability, and it came to the point where we were friends, and he's been a house guest of mine, as well as his beautiful wife, Denise. So what we did was we kind of went through our careers together, 53 years. The difference is, of course, he was a prosecutor, a career prosecutor. I prosecuted for a little over 3 years and then started my own practice. So we were pretty much adversaries, I suppose, most of our career, but it didn't mean that we were angry toward each other. We got along. Bernie always listened to me, didn't always give me what I wanted, but he always gave me an audience, always listened, and I would say the majority of times it worked out. So we were colleagues, and we were professional attorneys against each other, but most of all, we were friends. And I count Bernie McCabe as a good friend of mine. And I will just close by saying, even though they were on opposite sides of prosecution and defense, it reminds me of something that was once written by Rudyard Kipling in The Ballad of East and West, when he said, East is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet, till earth and sky stands presently at God's great judgment seat. But there is neither east nor west, border, breed, nor birth, when 2 strong adversaries stand face to face, though they come from the ends of the earth. I would like to say to Bernie's family, my condolences, and I would like Bernie, in all respects, to rest in peace. Thank you.
And now, I'm thrilled to honor 2 individuals tonight whose service to Stetson University College of Law, leadership in the legal profession, and service to the community has spanned decades. It is a privilege to celebrate this year's inductees. Our first inductee is Paul May. To help us celebrate Paul May's outstanding accomplishments, I would like to introduce Mitch Shermer, Stetson Lawyers Association Advisory Council President, followed by Dean and Professor Emeritus Bruce Jacob. And now, let's hear from Mitch Shermer.
Good evening. My name is Mitchell Shermer, and I'm a 2015 graduate of the College of Law and the president of the Stetson Lawyers Alumni Association's Advisory Council. It is my distinct honor to introduce you to one of tonight's distinguished inductees who will be forever enshrined among the College of Law's strongest supporters and advocates in the Hall of Fame. Paul M. May. Paul, a 1980 graduate of the College of Law, decided early in his career that service to Stetson was of the utmost importance. While a student, Paul served as the Student Bar Association president, a role that allowed him to advocate for his peers and foster the leadership of the next generation of Stetson lawyers. Paul's work on behalf of the student body set the table for the next generation of student leaders like me to be effective SBA presidents and to put the interests of the student body at the forefront. After Paul's graduation, he identified a lack of alumni engagement in the affairs of the College of Law as a challenge that needed to be addressed and sought out to enact a change. Working closely with others, Paul redesigned the Alumni Association to better serve both alumni and the institution. The state of Florida was divided into alumni districts. 3 additional out-of-state districts were also identified. Paul attended many of the district events himself and hosted several events in South Florida. Paul's work led to increased alumni engagement and gifts. In many respects, Paul was the architect for our modern alumni association. Today, we have chapters throughout the state of Florida and active alumni groups in Washington, D.C., New York City, and Atlanta. Our alumni association is thriving with engaged alumni involved in the affairs of the College of Law who are dedicated to its betterment and growth, all thanks to the commitment, vision, and efforts of Paul May. Nearly 11,000 strong and living across the country and around the world, from courtrooms to boardrooms and in state legislatures, our alumni association owes Paul a tremendous debt of gratitude. While Paul is no longer physically with us, his legacy lives on at the College of Law. The Stetson Lawyers Alumni Association Paul M. May Meritorious Service Award, dedicated by the College of Law to honor Paul's legacy and his commitment to bettering the College of Law. The award recognizes an alum who has shown continued support of the Alumni Association and the college through contribution of time and gifts. The award is presented annually during the Stetson Alumni Reception at the Florida Bar Convention. For all of these reasons and those you will hear about in just a moment, Paul May has earned his place in the Stetson University College of Law Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Paul and to the May family.
I met Paul May in the fall of 1981. I had just become dean of the law school. He had graduated a year or two earlier. We met in DeLand at the annual law school alumni breakfast. I liked him immediately. He was just a great guy. When the meeting had ended, we were all standing around talking with each other. There was a piano in the room, so he went over to the piano and began playing and singing popular songs and hymns. And soon everybody in the room gathered around him. There were 15 or 20 of us gathered around him, singing these songs with him. And it lasted about 20 minutes. I later learned that he was trained as a concert pianist and organist. He was a terrific musician. He became an exceptional lawyer, a very good lawyer. He and I were both concerned that the law school had that only one alumni meeting each year up in DeLand. There was a National Alumni Association, but only one meeting, and he and I both thought we should expand, and the Alumni Association should do much more than that, should be much more active than that. So one weekend, he and Deb Werner, who was also interested in the Alumni Association, and I met at the law school for a whole weekend, designing what we thought would be an ideal alumni association. We divided the state up into districts, and also we had out-of-state districts in Atlanta and Washington, D.C., for example. In each district, we expected there to be at least one event each year for the alumni, a breakfast or a luncheon, dinner, cocktail party. And we needed someone in each district to sponsor, pay for that event. Among the 3 of us, we knew just about every alumnus at that time because in those days, we didn't have nearly as many graduates as we have today. We called each one in each district, call the person we decided should be the sponsor, and talk them into sponsoring the first alumni event in that district. I went to each. The idea was that the dean would go to each event and speak about the law school, what was happening at the law school. Paul had his district, Fort Lauderdale district. He was the sponsor for every year, paying for that dinner or cocktail party. And he went to all the others too. He and Deb both. And I often think of them as the father and mother of our present Alumni Association. He was a wonderful guy, smart as he can be. He loved people. People loved him. And anyway, it's just, I'm so proud that he is being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Paul Marshall May was born in Miami on November 24, 1954. His parents were industrious people. His father hauled oranges and later became a partner in Beacon's Van Lines, while his mother was a librarian who later opened a travel agency. They raised their 4 children in a Christian home, an important faith base that would stay with May for life. He began playing piano at age 12 and later switched to the organ. As a young man, he played at the Southern Baptist Convention and at Billy Graham crusades. He would become known for his musical talent as much as his legal one, and his passion for it would forge relationships, both personal and professional. After graduating from North Miami High School, he attended Florida State University. He spent 5 years there, earning degrees in criminology and political science. He loved the law because he saw it as a means to help people and went on to enroll at Stetson. While at Stetson Law, he was a member of Cigna Nu, the trial advocacy team, Stetson Law Review, and was Student Bar Association president. He graduated in 1980. His enduring love of Stetson led him to spearhead efforts to take the Stetson Law Alumni Association from a practically non-functioning group that met once a year to a robust organization. He spent an entire weekend collaborating with then-Dean Bruce Jacob and fellow alumna Deb Warner to design a structured, responsive, and supportive association fit for Florida's first law school. Dean Jacob called him the father of today's Stetson Law Alumni Association and attributed its long-term success to May's work and commitment. He was president of the Alumni Association from 1986 to 1988, and as Law Day homecoming chairperson, he hosted a grand reception and the launch of the Half Century Club for members who hit the 50-year mark. May began his law practice in Miami as an associate in the law firm of Benson, Cohen, Kaufman, and Chance. He subsequently moved to Fort Lauderdale as a partner in the firm of Benson, Ray, and May. Following a private practice, May established the law firm of May and Meacham in 1992, expanding the firm to May, Meacham, and DeVell in 1996. His practice focused on commercial litigation, including banking, real estate, and construction. He loved the relationships he was able to build through the work. He was an active member of the Young Lawyers Division of the Florida Bar, serving as parliamentarian and secretary. He was a driving force behind the Florida Bar's Law Week in 1982, including securing a proclamation from then-Governor Bob Graham declaring May 1st Law Day in Florida. He was a member of the Association of Trial Lawyers of America, the American Bar Association, and Alpha Phi Sigma, a national criminal justice honor society. May's devotion to the law and Stetson, though great, could not outshine that to his family and church. He met his wife Lisa while the two attended FSU, and they married in 1984. They would go on to have 4 children, Amanda, Molly, Houston, and Paul Marshall Jr., who followed in his father's footsteps by becoming a Stetson lawyer. He was an intentional, devoted father, so much so that he made the strategic decision to never live more than a 5-minute commute from work. That way, he could be home for dinner and to help put the kids to bed and return to the office later if work called. He was active as a member of the First Baptist Church of Fort Lauderdale, being ordained a deacon and serving in numerous capacities, including trustee, chairman of the deacons, and choir president. He naturally chaired the organ selection committee and played a vital role in choosing the instrument that would befit the church he loved so dearly. He tirelessly contributed his musical talent to not only First Baptist Fort Lauderdale, but other churches throughout the state. May also served his community as the Bethany Christian School attorney and as a member of its board of directors, as well as volunteering with the American Cancer Society, Community Service Council, and Family First, a nonprofit organization based in Tampa dedicated to strengthening families. Stetson Law created the Paul M. May Meritorious Service Award, designed to be bestowed on alumni who showed continuous support to Stetson Law through contributions of time and gifts. Past recipients include the late Bernie McCabe. The Broward County Bar Association also created an award in his memory. The Paul May Professionalism in Practice Award is an annual recognition bestowed on a Broward County lawyer who exemplifies the ideals of professionalism, ethics, integrity, courtesy, credibility, preparedness, and zealous advocacy, combined with civility in day-to-day practice. May accomplished more professionally and personally in 44 short years than most people do in a lifetime. He passed away on April 2, 1999, following a battle with cancer. Despite the sometimes contentious nature of the legal world, May had an amazing gift to be able to build consensus and to make sure all parties felt seen and heard. He loved well, was well loved, and lived with Jesus in his heart. The words of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow encapsulate May's legacy. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and, departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Paul Marshall May, who led with an attitude of service, humor, and genuine care for his fellow man, is now a member of the Stetson University College of Law Hall of Fame.
Good evening, and thank you, Dean Alexandra. My family and I like to thank Stetson for providing this special tribute. As a fellow Stetson Law alumnus, I am truly touched by this institution's continual recognition of my father's work and legacy. After graduating Stetson Law in 1980, my father became very active in the Alumni Association, serving as its president from 1986 to 1988. I know I can speak for him in saying that his most fond memories from that time would be spending time with his fellow Hatters, none more so than his dear friends, Dean Bruce Jacob, Ted Eastmore, and Bill DeBell. Michel de Montaigne once said that the value of life lies not in the length of the days, but in the use we make of them. Nothing could describe my father's life more accurately than that. Having passed away more than 22 years ago at the age of 44, his legacy and memory live on. Not in some list of achievements, although there are more than I care to count, but in the lives that he touched. I can say this because seldom does a week go by that I do not meet a person who greets me with a tear. And when they speak of him, they don't speak of the lawyer, they speak of the man. That is why his memory is being honored again here tonight. On behalf of my father and our entire family, I'd like to thank Stetson University College of Law for including him in this year's honorees and inducting him into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the new Hall of Fame inductees, an accomplishment well deserved.
Our next inductee is Judge Thomas McCown. To help us present Judge McCown's incredible career, I would like to introduce Judge Anthony Porcelli. While Judge Anthony Porcelli, now a federal magistrate judge of the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, was attending Stetson Law, he participated in the federal judicial externship. At the time, Judge McCown was his mentor. Subsequently, they were colleagues on the bench. It is my great honor to introduce Judge Anthony Porcelli.
Thank you, Dean Alexandri. I am honored to introduce into the Stetson College Law Hall of Fame my mentor, colleague, and dear friend, Judge Thomas McCown III. Tom's passing in August of 2019 was too soon for all of us. So I am deeply grateful for this opportunity to remember someone whom I loved and cherished so much. I want to first thank Stetson University's College of Law for honoring Judge McCown by inducting him into the Hall of Fame, as his impact upon the Stetson community and the legal community at large, is a rich legacy that is so deserving of such an honor. I am but just one small example of Judge McCowan's legacy, as he had been a guidepost for me over the years, both personally and professionally. You see, Judge McCowan began his judicial career as a magistrate judge in the Middle District of Florida in February 1994. And as fate would have it, just 3 years later, in 1997, as a student participant in the Stetson's Federal Judicial Internship Program, I was assigned to work as an intern in his chambers. I was exceptionally lucky to be randomly assigned to work with Judge McCowan, because I am certain that my time with Tom unquestionably laid the foundation for my career path to eventually become his colleague and friend on the federal bench. Now, Tom loved teaching, as was demonstrated by his dedication to routinely teach Sunday school at his church. But in addition to teaching, Tom truly loved the law. So naturally, Tom loved teaching as an adjunct professor over the many years at Stetson, where he was truly beloved by his students. Tom felt it important to give back to the Stetson community and to have a true impact on future lawyers. He certainly did both in his role in Stetson's Federal Judicial Internship Program. Since its inception many years ago, Tom had enriched the careers of countless Stetson Law students. The internship program was one of a kind when it was first started, and Tom was so pivotal in its success. Naturally, Tom exhibited the finest qualities of those expected in the legal community, but he did so not because he was a lawyer or a judge. Rather, he did so because that is just simply how he lived his life. As one of Tom's dearest friends, Jack Hellinger, stated, at his judicial investiture, Tom was the hardest working and most dedicated attorney he has ever known. And Jack should know, as he was Tom's classmate both at Georgia Tech and at law school at Stetson, and then his colleague at the state attorney's office, and then later his law partner for approximately 9 years. Jack observed firsthand as Tom became very well known for his pro bono appellate work on death row cases. Tom felt it vitally important to work on those difficult cases without the expectation of reward, because he believed it was the right thing to do, because for him, defending constitutional principles was paramount, even if the issues were obscure or even if the general public did not agree. During his approximate 25 years on the federal bench, Judge McCowan was regarded as one of the finest trial judges in the area, who was respected by all for his intelligence, fairness, and commitment. He treated all in his courtroom with equal respect and dignity to ensure all were heard and treated fairly. Without question, he was admired by the litigants, lawyers, and his colleagues. Family unquestionably was everything to Tom. Tom's engine was truly fueled by the love of his wife Jenny and his children Bullet, John, Cameron, and Katie, as well as his grandchildren, parents, and siblings. Tom's legacy is that of a fantastic lawyer, a fantastic jurist, but more importantly, that of an amazing man. And now let's watch a short video about Judge McCowan's life.
Thomas Bullitt McCowan III was born in Miami on December 27, 1950, the first of 4 children. His parents shaped his values and character. McCowan would remark later in his career that if I have any ounce of fairness, it comes from my dad, and if I have any ounce of firmness, it comes from my mom. He excelled as both a scholar and athlete at Coral Gables High School, where he played on the school's state championship football team and was chosen as a senior of distinction. Inspired by NASA's Apollo Moon program, he enrolled at Georgia Tech. Perforated eardrums, along with the merciless demands of Tech's rigorous calculus and organic chemistry regimen, dashed his hope of mingling with the stars. Still, he quickly impressed his fellow freshmen, who elected him class president and earned a degree in industrial management. Engaged to his high school sweetheart, Jenny Eldridge, McCowan decided to apply for law school in 1973 because he understood a legal career would be a stable way to support a family. His first attempt was unsuccessful, so he began a career with Delta Airlines until a broken arm sidelined him. Not one to give up, McCown applied again and got the good news of his acceptance to Stetson Law while on his honeymoon. He started classes in the fall of 1974, attending year-round, and was a member of the Moot Court Board and Phi Delta Phi legal fraternity. He participated in Stetson's famed public defender clinic and graduated in the top 30% of his class in January 1977. McCown began his legal career as an assistant state attorney in the Sixth Circuit of Florida. He then entered private practice as a trial lawyer, doing both criminal and civil matters, first with the firm of Louderback, McCown, and Hellinger, and then later on his own. His daredevil personality and no challenge is too tough attitude made criminal and trial work the perfect fit for him. He developed a reputation for excellence in advocacy and, as a result, was appointed to represent death row inmates awaiting execution. McCown cared deeply about the underdog, believing that everyone had the right to proper representation and a fair trial. In the 1980s, despite a successful private practice, McCown ran for and lost a bid for circuit court judge. Undaunted by the loss, he later applied for a federal magistrate judge position. He was the second choice after the original candidate was disqualified, but no matter, McCown, with his hardworking nature, would go on to complete 3 distinguished terms as a U.S. magistrate judge in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida following his investiture on February 1, 1994. He would preside over high-profile and ordinary cases alike. As Ann H. Arsenal, one of his law clerks, noted, in black robes and somber courtrooms, judges are often seen as cold, dispassionate arbiters. Judge McCown broke that mold. He presided with humility, humanity, and oftentimes humor. From criminal defendants making their first appearance to civil litigants slogging through a trial, all those who came before him were assured that he was listening and prepared to give them a fair shake. In 2017, McCown was honored with the Jack Edmond Award for Civility and Excellence from the Herbert G. Goldberg and Ronald K. Cacciatore Criminal Law American Inn of Court. The award was named for a legendary Bartow criminal defense lawyer who tried hundreds of federal and state cases. McCown was selected for his legal acumen. His sense of duty and service extended beyond the courtroom. He always credited his Stetson education for his success, intrinsically knowing it made him an exceptional lawyer and gave him the skills to thrive. He strongly believed in the importance of giving back and did so through service as an adjunct professor and mentoring Stetson students in the federal judicial externship. His family has created the Honorable Thomas B. McCown III Scholarship in his name. In addition to Stetson, he also taught Sunday school for both youth and adults at First Presbyterian Church in St. Petersburg. He was a dedicated member who participated in the building of homes for Habitat for Humanity, several mission trips with church youth, and preparing meatloaf dinners for hundreds of homeless individuals at the local nonprofit Pinellas Hope. McCown's long career of service to others, he would tell you, was not his proudest legacy. Instead, he would point to his family, which included his wife Jenny, their children Bullet, John, Cameron, and Katie, and grandsons Bodie, Knox, Tyler, and Eli, also known as Grandpa Tubby's wingmen. He was the ultimate homework father, lawnmower, and house painter. McCown finished 3 full terms on the bench and was still on active recall status to serve as needed when he died on August 27, 2019, after living 13 years with cancer. He was an avid reader who also enjoyed outdoor activities such as biking, skiing, running, and travel. In his final year, McCown took Jenny to France for their 45th wedding anniversary, attended his 50th high school reunion, and enjoyed a family trip to Shebig Island, Maine. A special resolution written by his judicial colleagues noted, "Much too soon, a tightly knit family lost a loving husband, father, brother, and grandfather, and the citizens of the Middle District of Florida lost an eminently fair and able magistrate judge who served his community for 25 years with unwavering dedication to the fair administration of justice. Those who worked alongside this remarkable man lost a cherished friend and mentor." In his high school yearbook, Senior of Distinction McCown quoted a Bible verse from Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. It is a principle aptly descriptive of how McCown left an indelible mark on all he encountered, just as those he experienced left their marks on him. From tenacious trial lawyer to scrupulous judge and dedicated teacher, he had an outstanding legal career. His devotion to the law and Stetson was surpassed only by that to his family and church. He was a good person, a good lawyer, a good judge, a good friend, and a good family man. Thomas Bullitt McCown III was the epitome of a Stetson lawyer and is now a member of the Stetson University College of Law Hall of Fame.
My name is Bullitt McCown. I'm the oldest of my father's 4 children, and I am joined here by his 4 grandsons, affectionately known as his wingmen, Bodie and Tyler Blank, and Knox and Eli Reeves. And on behalf of my mother, Jenny, who was married to my father for 45 years, my brother, Jonathan, and 2 sisters, Cameron and Katie, I would like to say thank you to Stetson University College of Law, and that I am truly honored to speak on my father's behalf. The fact that I am accepting this award on my father's behalf is a sad reminder that he is no longer with us, but I have felt a huge sense of pride, and I know my family shares it in being able to call Tom McCown our dad. If he were alive, I know he would be proud and humbled for this distinguished honor. As a family, we couldn't be prouder of our dad, whom we miss dearly. This sentiment reaches much further than just his immediate family. What makes his legacy so special to not only us, but to the legal community in which he served, his neighborhood, his church, and the courthouse, is that all who knew him miss and think of him often. Our family would like to congratulate Paul May and his family, this year's other inductee, for his career and service to his legal community. We also remember Bernie McCabe, whom my dad had a very good and personal relationship with. My dad had started his legal career as an assistant state attorney in 1977 with the State Attorney's Office of the Sixth Circuit. And that's where he formed his friendship and respect for Bernie. I'm sure they are having a good discussion over some wine in regard to the current legal system, the art of a trial lawyer, and college and pro football. May they both be smiling and resting in peace. My dad would tell me to keep this brief, which is hard given his many talents, not only as a lawyer and judge, but as a son, husband, dad, friend, and neighbor. My dad was much more than an excellent trial lawyer, magistrate judge, or legal mind. He was a hard worker, a humble man, and a lifelong Presbyterian. He was a man of faith, was well-traveled, athletic, a voracious reader, a fan of music, a painter, runner, biker, skier, and breakfast maker. He lived a life where he tried hard, helped, and didn't complain. These traits were bestowed on him by his parents, Thomas Bullitt McCown Jr. and Mary Jo Corbley. He was raised in a loving home, one that taught him and his 3 siblings, brothers Chris and Jim, and sister Ann, right from wrong, and the many values that served his time on the bench. It was this diverse life and humbleness, along with a strong work ethic, that served him well over his legal career as an attorney and judge. His time at Stetson Law provided him not only with a great legal training and education, but lifelong friendships to this day that my family benefits from, and is something we knew he loved about his time in Gulfport. In his honor, my family has bestowed the Honorable Thomas B. McCown III Scholarship here at Stetson, which will be held in perpetuity in thanks by many generous friends, family members, Stetson alum, and colleagues. This scholarship will help future law students advance their studies and hopefully their own dutiful legal career. While attending Stetson, my dad took his studies and curriculum seriously and worked diligently to obtain not only good grades, but an understanding of the law and how it applied to the Constitution as well as the courtroom. His friends would joke that they rarely saw him while at school as he was holed up in the library or at home reading. These same friends would become lifelong friendships and were forged through their various legal careers, as many of them went on within Pinellas and Hillsborough counties to become judges, successful private practice attorneys, partners in both big and small law firms, public defenders, and prosecutors. His time at Stetson launched his career as a stellar trial attorney and 24 years of service to the Middle District of Florida as a magistrate judge. His time on the bench was one in which he would enjoy the many hats of a federal magistrate and would be able to exercise his knowledge of both a defense and prosecutor's mindset in a courtroom and in trials. His fairness was applied to the full extent, as he would say, because it is a fine line between what is best for the public, but what is constitutionally guaranteed to the accused. This mentality of defending the system, that each person be given a fair and impartial trial, upholding our country's constitution and calling them like he saw them, is what best defines my dad's mission as a judge. He recalled in his early years as a state attorney and taking on his first death sentence client that getting out of his comfort zone and taking on the challenge of that type of case afforded him experience and perspective that would stay with him throughout his career. He became an adjunct professor at Stetson Law, teaching a criminal procedures course on searches and seizures, interrogations, and Sixth Amendment rights. I recall how he enjoyed doing this and preparing for his students and classes because it allowed him to step out as a judge and get into the advocacy role. It allowed him to call upon his experiences as a judge, prosecutor, and defense counsel to illustrate a point. What better way to give back than to educate future lawyers? In closing, my father was a decent man who tried and worked hard in all his endeavors. He fought for the little guy and practiced law and presided over his courtroom with respect and humility for all parties involved. His title was probably something he was never truly comfortable with, but he was comfortable with and was particularly fond of the courtroom, as well as the thrill a trial lawyer could experience helping a client get the right outcome. His time in law school and the turn of events as a young lawyer upon graduating deeply impacted him and his career. However, it is his service, his friendship, and his love as a husband, dad, granddad, brother, friend, and servant to others that defines his true legacy. Thank you for your time and this opportunity to honor my family's dad and our mother's husband. Godspeed.
Although it's only a small part of Judge McCown's contribution to Stetson and the broader community, his regular and active participation in the federal judicial externship at Stetson has made no small impact on our students and on the institution. The federal judicial externship gives students an opportunity to spend real time in a federal judge's chambers. Not only do they get to witness other lawyers and judges at work and interact with them, they get research and writing experience like you would as a clerk to a federal judge, and they get the mentorship that only that kind of close relationship with a legal professional can provide. Judge McCown was the pinnacle of that experience throughout his time working with us at Stetson. We are thrilled that we were able to establish a scholarship in his name to be given to students participating in the externship, and that the first award will be given this spring. There's no way to underestimate Judge McCown's contribution to the externship and to Stetson at large, and for that we will forever be grateful.
Thank you again for joining us for this important ceremony tonight. We are eternally grateful for these distinguished Hall of Fame inductees and the profound impact they continue to have on Stetson University College of Law. A special thank you to President Wilkie, Provost Penter, the members of our Board of Trustees, the members of our Board of Overseers, our alumni, faculty, students, and staff who continue to make Stetson University College of Law a vibrant, nationally recognized leader in legal education. Please join me as we thank all of the people behind the scenes of the 2021 Hall of Fame. Good night, everyone. Be safe and be well.